We're back for some Dave's Hot Chicken. This time, something new on the menu. So they got these things called bites, Dave's Bites, which are basically like their version of nuggets. It costs $10 if you get the meal, which is this one. Comes with fries and a 10-piece and Dave sauce. So there's also bread on here too. So it's like their version of nuggets for what it's looking like. They also, you can order them by themselves for $6.99, which is just a 10-piece with the bread and the Dave sauce. So that's what we got today. We're gonna see if there's any difference between the other Dave's menu. I did get something else because I wanted to try this again. So I got just the slider and the Dave's Not Chicken. So I got that too. This is their like vegetarian version. I don't think I've ever had their tender of that version. So I wanted to try that as well. Drop a thumbs up, man. I'm not gonna hold y'all. You guys know the vibes. Let's get into this video. I'm grabbing something because I forgot to tell you about this too. I also got a shake, but they made this fresh before all my food came out because I ordered it when I got there and it's already melted. So it's an M&M. I ordered a strawberry shake, but I'm pretty sure that, oh no, it's strawberry. Their strawberry is not colored at all. I almost got mad for a second. I was like, please, I don't want nobody messing up my order again. But let's get into this video. Okay, so I got two orders because they only come for whatever reason in hot or medium. I'm not really sure why, if they're trying to be cheaper or give people like a cheaper alternative because they think Dave's is too expensive, but a tender meal is $13. This is $10, so it's really not that much of a difference. So I don't know why they wouldn't just give you whatever sauce you wanted to. When I looked on the app, they only had two options. So this is the hot. This is a Dave's bite. I'm gonna get the first bite with no sauce. It tastes like what I think it tastes like. Delicious. Is this an excuse for me to eat Dave's Hot Chicken? Possibly, but I'm not mad at that. It's going for the Dave sauce. I don't know what their thought process behind making this. It left me even more confused than normal. But here we go. A little more Dave sauce. It's a tender. You just cut it. It's the same thing. I just ate a hot tender. I'm not mad at that, but I'm just trying to figure out the angle here. Let's go in for the fries. If look, I can eat this. I'm not mad at it. All right, cool. Let's do it. But let's do what we do. Let's dress it up. Some people in the last video were commenting that they never thought to put honey on a Dave's Hot, but you get the honey from Dave's Hot, so I don't know why no one thought of it, but this is, like, to me, the best way to eat it. So gotta eat it right. If you don't eat it right, it's not working right. So we're gonna go in for the bite with the Dave sauce, and then you just, I don't want to get this on my car, so we're going back here with it. I'm not putting honey all over my car. There we go. And you just get a little honey. They're delicious. I'm sure most of y'all knew that. They are. Oh, but the honey's so good though, man. Some people don't eat the bread. You're sorely missing out. One more time. I just need an excuse to eat this. We'll go in. Some of these crinkle cuts. Always perfectly crispy. Little of that. Little of this. Basically all of that. And then the honey, the bread will soak that up. So we can go right over on the honey. They can call me crazy, but I almost feel like you get more chicken with this. You get 10 pieces, which I think equals more than 2 tenders. It's the same breast meat, and it's nice and crispy. This is the medium. Look, I'm not mad at y'all. I'm just like, why did you do this? I have nothing new to say. Other than, if you've never had Dave's, this will not steer you away from it. I would have liked to see them do something a little different. I don't really know what you can even do with a place like Dave's Hot because they don't have a crazy menu. They got sliders, they got tenders, they got fries. You can do mac and cheese, do cheese fries, and they got shakes. There's really not a lot other than Dave's Not Chicken. But again, I'm not mad. Just give me an excuse to eat it. So here we go. As you can see, I'm just articulate and just eating my ass off in a minute. There we go. They're still crispy. They're still tender. Dave's Bites are literally tenders just chopped up. And for that reason, I'm slightly confused, but I'll give them the same rating that I gave the damn tenders. 9.3 out of 10. I will say this again. If you are going to get Dave's Hot Chicken, don't get no spice. There's no point. At least get medium. And if you say you can't handle spice, I'll be real with you, save your money. It's not the place for you because it defeats the purpose. More Dave's fries. So again, I got the Dave's Not Chicken, which is their vegetarian version. I've never had their tenders. I've only done the bites. And I remember the sandwich the first time, but I want to try it a second time. So that's what I got here. The slider is the same thing. You can see because it's cauliflower, this thing almost looks like a fish sandwich, but it's cauliflower. So let's start with that. I don't remember it being this fat of a sandwich last time. I did get it with cheese and their kale slaw, not coleslaw. It looks way, way fatter than the last time, so I don't really think that's a good thing. This is way more noticeably cauliflower than the last time I got it. The last time I was saying you can't really tell a difference. You can. This almost resembles a freaking fish sandwich. That's all I keep thinking. But we're here. Let me get into the Dave sauce and let's get some honey on here and let's see what we're working with. Because I might change my mind about this one this time. For my vegetarians. Oh, the stuck together honey. Okay. Get off me. Also, it's 95 degrees in Jersey right now. It's hot as hell. There we go. A little honey. Bro, this sucks. The cauliflower sucks, bro. But the texture on this is much more noticeably cauliflower than the bites or the nuggets. And it's not a good bite. This almost is like they need to make this thinner. I like it don't fry right. Wow, the bites are decent. I would never get that again. If I was gonna get the vegetarian stuff, so all my vegetarians, don't get the bites. The bites cook better. That's a horrible bite. I would give that a 3 out of 10. Like I don't think I would ever order that again. I almost want to just do this. Like I'm about to take this off. Is that Dua Lipa? Do this. I just put the chicken in there. Don't get the cauliflower sandwich. That's ass. It's like a bonus chicken sandwich though. Sometimes you can't duplicate chicken. As much as you can try. But I thought the tots or the bites were good. So this is their tender. And you can clearly see you got a boil? A little piece of cauliflower stuck there. But you can clearly see what they did with this. There's a whole head of cauliflower that they just, and cross section. So let's try it out. I think they undercooked the chicken on my sandwich. This is better. It's still not great, but it's better. I think the chicken just needed more time in the fryer. Nope, same thing. It's too thick and it's just not cooked right. Like if you're a person who's truly like a vegetarian, you don't eat meat and you want something different, maybe you'll like this more than I do, but I eat cauliflower almost every day in rice form or in floret form. There we go. And this is just a little too tough. Like it's okay with the sauce and the tender and everything else like that, but that's really disappointing. I was a big fan of the bites and I liked the sandwich the first time around, but for whatever reason, it is not hitting the same. And that gets a 4 out of 10. It is slightly better than the sandwich, but I guess they just cooked it better. We have our M&M top loaded shake. Again, this melted because I got it before the rest of my meal, and they probably expected me to eat it waiting, but I didn't. There's M&M pieces in here. If I was going to pick another one of these, I saw someone get the Oreo. I think the Oreo will be a lot better because of the flavor that it brings. The M&Ms just don't do a lot to this because they're chocolate M&Ms. This is a strawberry, and the strawberry, I don't know if they put like strawberry syrup in this, but I'm not used to seeing strawberry shakes that aren't pink. It does have the taste all through it. It's a decent shake, but it's pretty basic. I think a regular is like either $5 or $6, and this costs $8. It ain't worth it. This is a small, by the way, so they do give you a pretty decent amount. I think it's good if you're a person who thinks the chicken's too hot. You'll at least be able to cool it off with like the ice cream or milk or whatever have. But it ain't worth it either. I would give that a 5 out of 10. It's just very average. Can I just get like 2 more of these? Overall, I'm not sure what to think about these bites. I said it a billion times because, again, these videos aren't scripted, and I'm just completely confused about what the hell I'm eating. I would say that if you wanted to get the meal for $10, just get the meal because it's a little cheaper than the tenders, and this is basically a damn tender. I don't know what this comes from. Maybe like they're trying to conserve their chicken because when they make the tenders, they have to trim it, and they get left with these like pieces. That would be smart. Maybe that's what it is, because maybe they're throwing this out. That's the only logical explanation for this, but bang for your buck wise, you get a pretty good amount, and it's slightly cheaper. No meals at Dave's Hot Chicken come with a drink, so you have to keep that in consideration. I always talk about the drink being added to value. If you really care about price that much, I would just bring my own water, like I did, and just go from there. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. Okay, I can finally talk about this now. It's hot in this car. Now that the NBA Finals are over, as many of you may not know or know, I am a Celtics fan. I've been a Celtics fan. There is no bandwagon here. Most of y'all were giving me crap when we lost to Golden State 2 years ago. And I was there and happy when they hung up the 17th banner back in 08. Not physically there, but remember watching it live, obviously. As far as the season goes, some people are saying things like this championship is fake because players were hurt and all of these other things. I get it. If you're not a Celtics fan, you might have thought the playoffs were boring. I did not, clearly. Why would I think it was boring? But I will say this. Even if you don't like the Celtics, you have to give them credit. They were by far the best team in the NBA this entire season, and they deserved to win a championship. Like, I don't care who got hurt or who didn't get hurt. They were still the best team in the league. They won 64 games this year, and they lost 21 games if you include the playoffs. So the entire duration, regular and postseason, they were 64 and 18 in the regular season, and only lost 2. And there's 21 games all season. It's a great season, and people can, they didn't make some big three where it teamed up. As a Celtics fan, I will say this, it feels a lot better knowing that they didn't get Kevin Durant when they wanted to, or brought in some high-profile free agent or anything like that, because we grew with this team. I'm just telling you from my perspective what it's like. We grew with this team. I remember getting rid of Paul Pierce and getting rid of KG to get those picks back, and having to go through having like Gerald Wallace and Chris Humphries. No disrespect to them, but that's a difference between Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett and Rondo. And kind of just being like, all right, we'll start over. And that was way back over a decade ago. They draft JB, they draft JT, they bring these guys in. Obviously, with Isaiah Thomas, they were still a good team making the playoffs, but you never really felt like they're going to make a title. You know, you just felt like they were a good team, which was fine. They had a couple of runs with Isaiah Thomas, but this has been a slow build. Getting rid of some of their key players to bring back other players that they thought were going to help them more. A lot of people didn't agree with it. I talked about it last year. I did agree with it, but this is team building. And I'll put it this way for anybody who's a 76ers fan, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but the Celtics are literally what the 76ers thought they were going to be. You talk about trusting the process and the process of high draft picks and making trades and bringing back draft picks, etc. They did exactly what Philly was supposed to do. It never came to fruition for them. There was no big money acquisition like a Kevin Durant or LeBron James or somebody like that. Most of these players were brought in through trades or homegrown. Looking at the starting five, Al Horford was their free agent at one point, and he came back to the Celtics, so that's really their only big free agent acquisition. This is only the second time around because he's obviously 38 years old at this point. I'm talking about in the finals. So bringing out Al Horford, going into starting five, you got Porzingis, that was a trade. You have Drew Holiday, that was a trade. You have Derek White, which obviously was a key player for them. But when they brought him in, no one really cared. He wasn't like this high profile acquisition like the other two were. And then JT and JB were all draft picks. That feels good knowing that we did it. And everybody was talking about break up the team when they lost to the Warriors or when they kept losing to Miami. In the bubble, they lost to Miami. Outside of the bubble last year, they lost to Miami. And these guys can't make it work. And eventually they got it done. And I know people don't really like Jason Tatum, but he's been an all-NBA player multiple times. He's been an all-star multiple times. He's now an NBA champion, and he's 26 years old. Jaylen Brown, people said trade him, wasn't good enough. When they gave him the max contract, wasn't good enough, has no left hand. He was a meme all offseason. NBA Finals MVP. So I love to see it, man. I root for that kind of stuff. And I don't know if anybody saw this. There was a time when, after the game, obviously Jason Tatum was so close with his son Deuce, but he picked him up and he was happy. That wasn't the one that I was like, man, that's crazy. It was when he saw his mom. And you could see them kind of break down because he wanted to be this his entire life. And people hating on him right now because he's doing all this stuff, I don't think people ever really worked for anything their entire life. What you saw yesterday was the absolute culmination of everything he worked for finally coming to fruition. It's all he wanted. It's all he ever talked about being. And it's just awesome to see. So I'm happy for them. I'm not the type of person that dookies on other teams when they lose. I don't like being that type of toxic fan. I love Kyrie Irving still. I think he's an amazing player. I was sad to see him go, but he's still great. And Luka, to me, he's got some things to work on, like his fitness. And you know, he's a little bit whiny sometimes with the referees, and it gets him out of his game. But other than that, he's an amazing player and he'll be back. But the Mavericks have a lot to build on. They didn't expect them to be here this year, but they got something there. So they just got to keep cooking. But I'm happy we got the chip, man. I'm happy, you know, that I finally got to see it again. It's been a long time, over 15 years. So that's it, man. I appreciate y'all. Dave's just kind of like, but it is what it is. I don't mind. I always like this food anyway. So I don't dislike the food. It's just, but we'll be back tomorrow. More content, man. The hand signs, they made it to YouTube.